the recent update seems to have improved some things. So let's go ahead and we'll do the code update. Well, this certainly has put a damper on things. My Polymega is not working at all. I don't know what's going on. See, it just did it. It's completely locked up. There's nothing I can do. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Every now and then I am inspired by other content creators, and I just saw a video by Mad Little Pixel where he decided to swap out the CPU or upgrade the CPU on a Polymega to improve the N64 performance. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Polymega, it has these modules that actually slide out, and there's different modules for different systems. This is the Ultra module, otherwise known as the EM05, as you can see right there. And this is the one that is for the N64. And what I noticed is the N64 performance really isn't very good. So when I saw Mad Little Pixel do this video, I'm like, hey, I think I'm gonna try this too. So we're gonna do the same thing that he did to see if it improves N64 performance. Now I wanna keep this part in mind. Here's the CPU we're gonna be using. Keep this in mind. This is basically fixing a software issue with hardware. Does Polymega have an opportunity to optimize the emulator for the N64 module? They do. So they may be in the process of fixing it, but I want to see, does this CPU upgrade resolve some of the stuttering and audio dropouts and all sorts of issues we seem to have with N64 performance? But before we actually do the upgrade, I'm going to show you some before gameplay so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so we fired up the Polymega, and you can see this is kind of what it looks like when you boot it up. You have your collection of games. So keep in mind, this console is really geared towards someone that has a physical collection of console games, and then you basically can load those games directly onto the hard drive or the memory device on the unit, which is really cool. So, but we're gonna focus on N64 because that seems to be the game system that I have the most trouble with when it comes to the Polymega. So right now we're running the stock CPU. So we're gonna try Killer Instinct Gold. So this is, again, unedited. I'm just gonna press play on it, and then I'm gonna go full screen, and you can see some of the things I'm talking about. Okay, so now we're going full screen. I mean, you can clearly hear the audio dropouts and issues that it's having right now, right? So that's just wanted to show you. Now, when you play it, it's more of the same. So we're just going to play really quick. I'm just going to show you that those issues persist. I totally suck at this game, so don't judge me. I'm definitely not a Killer Instinct player whatsoever, but you can see what I'm talking about. There's definitely clear stuttering and issues with this game. So we'll jump over to another one really quick. Okay, so another game that I find runs weird to me is Wave Race. So we're going to go into Wave Race. I'm going to play a little bit more of this one so you can kind of get a flavor for it, but I can tell it just doesn't seem to be running at the correct frame rate. Here we go. Okay. Now, the intro and everything seems okay. It's just the game seems slow to me for some reason. So we're just going to go in. I'm not going to do a warm-up. We're just going to start the race up. Now, keep in mind, the Polymega has all these different settings you can do for virtual display. So if you want it to look slightly different, you can kind of do things and play with this. I feel like it's tough to get... Like, I don't really think they have a good profile for N64. Like, most of it looks kind of bad. Like, that looks really bad right there. The one I kind of prefer, even though I don't think it's perfect, is probably... Let's see if I can get it right on here. I think it's the one with blur. I can't find it now, of course. Yeah, it freaks out my capture card, too, by the way, so it's hard to get. There's, like, one or two settings that freak out the capture card. So here we go. It's not composite. That looks terrible. I guess we'll just do the HD one. I find it looks better on my TV. I don't know why the capture card is capturing it so terrible. I don't know. Maybe it just has a hard time with it, but... Anyways, we'll use these settings. All right, let's go. Now pay attention to it because...
Welcome to
you can kind of see if you really pay attention closely that there's definitely some issues with it. It's not as prominent as what you saw on Killer Instinct Gold. But you can kind of hear it, and it feels slow to me. And this game never felt slow to me when I played it back in the day. It always felt like a fast game, you know? And it feels like the frame rate just isn't quite where it needs to be. So I'm hoping that the CPU upgrade shows some difference and improvement in this game. And then we'll try one more, and then we'll kind of do the upgrade and see, hey, does it make much of a difference? Uh-oh. I'm all squirrely right now, man. Okay, let's do another game just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. This, you know, just kind of so we have a good before baseline. All right, so now we're trying out some Star Fox 64. With this one, you get like periodic little clipping audio dropouts. It's not terribly bad, but shoot. But it's just noticeable, man. Like you kind of, it ruins the experience when you're playing. You get this like audio clipping. And if you've ever emulated Star Fox 64 or any N64 games for that matter before, you'll notice that depending on the processor and all sorts of things like that, you can kind of have like a not so great experience. Okay, next let's fire up Ridge Racer 64 and see how that does. Now keep in mind, a lot of these issues actually exist in the intro sequences, and they're not present as much in the game. So if you can get past the fact that maybe the intro sequences aren't perfect, then maybe this isn't even really an upgrade that you should do. And I mean, I would say proceed with caution anyway, because if they go and do software tweaking to the emulators, they may be tuning it for the CPU they put in here. So, you know, I wouldn't want someone to go do this and then all of a sudden it's either running too fast now because their software is tuned for the type of CPU that's installed. But listen quickly here. See, that was kind of interesting. I actually just launched Ridge Racer, and then I went back, and it actually isn't doing the stuttering now. So I think some of the recent enhancements they've made have actually made a lot of this a lot better. So we're still going to go ahead and do the CPU upgrade. Now, the thing that kind of stinks about the Polymega is that there's no way to look at your frame rate. I don't know if they did that intentionally, but there's no setting where you can put the frame rate in like the emulator setting so you can kind of see, hey, what is this thing operating as? Now that would be the best telling sign, but you know, sometimes just by overall feel you can tell when when an emulator isn't running right. You can kind of see dips in frame rate and stuff like that, but it's just not as prominent to me now, and I don't know if I'm just overanalyzing it or whatever, but the recent update seems to have improved some things. So let's go ahead, we'll do the code update, and then we're going to go back into some of the games and see, like, are we noticing improvements in performance? Or is this maybe just something that we should just wait on Polymega to improve the software emulation and not waste the time doing this to our system? Well, this certainly has put a damper on things. I'm actually trying to reboot the Polymega because I had a problem, and check this out, because right now I think my Polymega is not working at all, which would kind of be an issue since I'm actually filming this video live for you. I mean, it's not live, but I'm not planning on putting many edits in this, if any at all. And I'm rebooting the Polymega right now, and it seems to boot up and then it kind of just hangs. So watch what happens here. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely not doing what it should be doing. That's for sure. Okay, so let's see. It was literally locking up, like right on the main menu. I couldn't do anything. So let's hope that it doesn't happen this time, but okay, I'm going through the menu. Okay, it seems okay right now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to System and connect the N64. See, it just did it. It's completely locked up. There's nothing I can do. Completely locked up. It's not moving. Nothing is happening. So I have no idea why this issue is occurring. Yeah, it's dead. Well, I guess we could do the CPU upgrade anyway and see what happens. But the whole point of this video was to see if the CPU made a difference on emulation. Now the thing's just straight up not working. So that's really a bummer. Let's go through and see. I mean, maybe it'll fix whatever issue it is that this is. I have no idea. What a weird... Well, that's a bummer. Wow. Okay. Let's see what happens. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to proceed with the CPU upgrade, even though now, obviously, if I did have a problem with this, I am completely voiding the warranty at this point. So I'm this is at my own risk, but it kind of sucks. I promise you, I was doing absolutely nothing. All I did was I was just recording footage. I had not modified the console at all. I'm doing it completely in the order that you're watching it. So I don't know. I'm really at a bit of a loss as to what the heck happened, other than just the console died on me. It's just very strange. I haven't really used it much at all, to be honest. I mean, I've done just some basic gameplay and, you know, I've been playing it a little bit, but I would never say I was aggressively using it or anything. So just kind of concerning, considering the thing is brand new and we all waited a really long time for this thing. So anyways, I'm going to fast track taking the screws off, but basically you remove these. You have to remove these rubber pieces and just kind of put them aside. I think they'll just stick back on. So remove these 6 screws and that one right there, and then you should be good to go. So anyways, I'm going to do that really quick, and then we'll crack it open and see what's going on. All right, now that I got it cracked open, I'm going to remove the fan. It's just these 4 screws right here, and then we should be able to... or the cooler, whatever you want to call it, the CPU cooler. We're going to remove this, and then, I don't know, we'll just see what's going on under here. I'm basically risking it all for the purposes of this video, because I have no idea if what I'm about to do will resolve my issue. It shouldn't, unless the CPU died, but I don't think it did. But anyways, let's see how it goes. Let's get this open, and then we'll clean the thermal paste off the current CPU, and we'll put the new one in there. Okay, we're just going to remove the thermal paste from the CPU and from the cooler, and I'm going to apply new thermal paste. So I have these little alcohol prep pads that I use. You could just probably use like a, just regular isopropyl alcohol, high percentage, and then like a microfiber cloth maybe, but this works pretty good. So I'm going to remove it from both of these, and then we'll take the CPU out, see if it's the same model as Mad Little Pixels, which is kind of interesting because I heard that maybe there was a potential they were swapping models of these things. I don't think that would be the case. I can't imagine them putting different CPUs in different units, but it's worth trying to compare and see if ours are the same. And then because this is a current model unit. This is one that just got, I just got this, like probably, it was right after Christmas time or right around Christmas time. So I've had it not very long at all. Okay, so we're gonna finish cleaning this off, and then we'll swap the CPU out, put new thermal paste on it, and see if we can bring the Polymega back to life. Okay, so let's pop this CPU out and see. I believe it's the one that was in his console was the G... Let's see, I don't know. Let's see what it is here. It's the G4900T. That's the same one that Mad Little Pixel said he had in his. Okay, so we have the same CPU, so that's good. Let's swap it for the new one and see if... I don't know, see if we can bring the thing back. It's back from the dead. I can't believe this thing died already, and I can't believe I'm an idiot who's actually modifying a dead console at this point. Let's just hope this works. What a different turn this video took. Okay, we're going to open up and install the new CPU. Like I said, this one is the Intel i7 8700T. I'll show you the model number right there. So that's the 8700T. That's what we got. We're going to crack it open and see if this makes any difference. I don't know why it would, but what a weird problem we just had. Okay, we're going to put the thermal grease on here and hopefully get it on here good. You don't need a whole lot. It's like really a dab. And then they suggest in this manual that you do an X shape. So you go X, X. Well, you know what I mean. One way this way and one way that way. So I'm going to do that really quick, and then that's it. We're going to put it all back together. Now we're just going to put the cooler back on. Hey, so before we put the cover back on, the Wi-Fi antenna, I didn't notice this. When I opened up the cover, the Wi-Fi antenna right here popped off. So I had to remove the glue. I don't know how it yanked it right out. So I believe it goes into the main. It says main and aux. I'm assuming it's the main. So if the Wi-Fi doesn't work, then I'm going to know why. And I'll have to switch it over. So I'm going to actually put the cover back on, but I'm not going to screw it all together quite yet. Okay, this is the moment of truth. The Polymega is all put back together. I didn't screw it in, obviously, because I don't know if I'm going to have any issues. By the way, I didn't mention this, but this is really annoying that you need to have this to pair your controller. Why they didn't embed the technology inside the Polymega, I have no idea. All right, let's fire it on and hope for the best. I'm going to switch over to the main screen for capture. Guys, I don't know. This is really kind of making me feel uneasy. I don't know why this thing would have died midstream. You guys saw it exactly how it happened. Let's just hope that maybe it fires up and continues to work now. All right, we're... Okay. Come on, Polymega. Come on, Polymega. Okay, well, it's booting up. That's good. So obviously the CPU is working. But let's see if it stays booted up. Now, what I noticed is it was only about 30 seconds on this main menu. And then it would kind of die. So far, so good. So let's go into a game that we know has given us issues before. We're going to check the intro of Killer Instinct Gold. Let's just go right for it and see if everything works. So I'm going to select this game. I'm going to press play. And let's see how this works. I'm just surprised. I'm glad it's actually working, but I'm not going to trust it till we get at least like a couple minutes of gameplay in here. Okay, so... Okay, it fixed the audio. So that's cool. So the CPU does make a difference, clearly. I'm just going to press start really quick just to see if we can... Yeah, I'll tell you this much. The interface itself seems a lot more responsive now. Like when you're just selecting things. I suck at this game so bad. I don't even really know how to play this game. That's the sad part, is I really don't. I don't know anything. So just, here, I'm just going to button mash and see what I can do. Clearly not very good even at button mashing. Wow. Come on, I can do something here, right? All right. But anyways, I'm not noticing any of the issues, so that's good. How did I beat here? That was so sad. Yeah, but anyways, so this is a good thing. So far, it's still working. We're going to exit out to the main menu. And, oops. And hopefully, we're going to test. I'll test a couple more games, but so far, so good. The Polymega is actually working. But I should absolutely not have had to do what I did. I don't know what happened. It's very, very strange. So, I mean, obviously, if it wasn't working and I opened it up, I would have been screwed going back to Polymega and saying, hey, if I opened it up, I was voiding the warranty at that point, but it does seem to be working. So that's a good thing. So we will go and check a couple more games and we'll see what, if it made much of a difference. So it looks like it definitely resolved the issue we were having with Killer Instinct. Let's now check out Wave Race and see if Wave Race has given us that same problem. If not, then then I think we can call this like a valid test, but I still don't know if I would recommend you guys doing it. Okay, now we've upgraded the CPU. Let's see what we get. I didn't really see much of an issue with the main menu before on this, so I don't know that matters, but let's just see if racing I notice a speed difference, because I felt like the frame rate might be a little bit impacted with the older CPU, the original CPU rather.
Welcome to Sunny Beach.
All right, let's see.
Get ready for the first race. 3, 2, 1, go!
Call me crazy, but I feel like the speed of the game feels more normal to me. Maybe I'm going nuts, but It definitely feels like it's faster, more responsive in the frame rate. Again, I'm going by just eye and feel, but it feels better to me. As you would kind of expect if the emulator is struggling from that's really bad, from a lack of processing power or optimization on the software end. Well, I'm really screwed now. So I think this is better. Let's see if we can catch up. And then we'll test out maybe one more game. I don't know, man. I'm kind of, at this point, because my Polymega bricked, I guess it was a good thing that we did this, but I don't know. I just don't know that this is something that I would necessarily recommend people doing. For one, it voids the warranty. And then two, I do think that if the install base demands improvements, which there's a decent base of units that were put out there into the market, I think maybe they'll go ahead and support it and continue. I guess if it was a dead product and you didn't know if they were going to support it or not, that'd be different. But so far, this definitely feels better to me, which is good. But again, I wouldn't really sit here and say I recommend that you do this to your Polymega. Yeah, I got second after falling off. Not too bad. All right, let's revisit Star Fox. Star Fox, the thing that's hard to sort of quantify is just that the games feel like maybe they were slightly deficient from a frame rate perspective. And now with the CPU upgrade, you can kind of feel the games just are more responsive. And then overall in the menu system, you can kind of sense it too. And I'm not saying, Mad Little Pixel pointed this out too. I'm not saying that the menu system was bad, but it definitely, everything's more snappy. It boots up slightly faster and everything. So, but I don't think I'm sold on this as something everyone should do. I think I'd say proceed it at your own risk, just because I don't really know, what they're going to do and what software updates they might have in mind that could potentially impact you if you've done this, if you go ahead and do this. But the fact of the matter is, I think the processor they have, that Celeron, even though that's not an amazing processor, with the right optimization should be able to run these games without the issues I think that we're seeing. Although I am kind of shocked that they use such a low-end processor. All right, guys, so what do I think about this? Honestly, it's really weird that we had the issue that we had. I really think that it had to do with this Celeron overheating. Because when I was looking at the thermal paste, it didn't look like it was very well applied in the initial configuration. So maybe I was just dealing with some overheating issues. Luckily for me, when I replaced the CPU, it works. The socket type needs to be LGA 1151, and it has to be 35 watts. So I will put a link in the description of the CPU that I use for this. I would not recommend you do this. I think this is one of those things where, number one, it voids the warranty. So unless you don't care about that and you're just like, look, I'm just going to do it and take the risk, fine. It does seem to resolve some of the minor emulation issues that I was having on the N64. And also, I got a chance to play through some other games, and it seems like just overall, the system seems to be performing better. There is no way to check the frames per second within each individual emulator on the Polymega. They don't expose those features, so you can't go in and say, show me the frames per second output. So I don't know, but just going by general feel, it feels better. So maybe some of these games are dipping in frame rate, and with the faster CPU, I'm kind of fixing a software issue with throwing more hardware at it. But I gotta think that Polymega will probably eventually update these little things as users complain about them or voice their disapproval of it. But anyways, I'm kind of upset in a way, because this thing really broke on me. And if it was really an overheating issue with this, I mean, I don't know. How long would it take Polymega to send me a new base unit? I'm not really sure. I don't want to beat them up too hard, because maybe their customer service is amazing. I've never checked, but obviously at this point, I can't even, this video is proof of me messing with my console, and, I would void the warranty at this point. So I would say, unless you don't care about any of that, maybe don't do it and hope that Polymega updates it. If you're really hooked on N64 and you want to play those, Project 64 is one of the best emulators I've ever played with. You can upscale the games. They look amazing on Project 64. So with a million different ways to play it, I don't know. But if you have a physical media collection, that's where the Polymega is pretty cool. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. Put your comments below. I know we're doing a little bit of content that's out of the ordinary, but this is stuff I'm interested in. So I will, obviously, the core of the channel is always going to be arcades and pinball and stuff like that. But it's fun to do this other stuff. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. That's it for now, guys. We will see you on the next one. Okay, I know you thought the video was over, but I just got some information. I recorded the video about 2 weeks ago, around that time frame, and there's some new information in the Polymega Mega Fans group. Someone reached out to Polymega and said, hey, what do you think about people upgrading their CPUs? What are your thoughts on it? And they said, we advise against this as it may cause issues down the road during firmware updates. I mentioned that. They may be tuning and tweaking the software for their particular Celeron CPU, so putting this other CPU in may actually impact what they're doing to optimize the performance of their system. So just keep that in mind, and that's straight from the horse's mouth. While you may see a short-term boost in performance, which we saw in the video, this may just be because of the drastic rewrite of our operating system that came in 1.1.30 firmware, and it looks like they have some plans in 1.1.32 to build off 1130 to improve overall performance of the system. So this is one of those things where I would say I am not recommending you do this just because it voids the warranty, and then they're kind of coming out and basically saying like, look, we can't guarantee your console is going to work properly in the future. So what I would do is, the only thing I would really do here, and this is something where it might still potentially void the warranty, is I don't think they used a good quality thermal paste. And I think what we saw in the video, what we all experienced together, was my Polymega overheating. So of course, when I put in the CPU with the better thermal paste, it worked fine. So just keep that in mind. If you do run into that issue where it's booting up, but then it locks up, it probably more likely than not is because the console is actually overheating. And the only way you're going to overcome that is probably by putting a better quality thermal paste on it, because I think the cooling element seems fine. I just think the thermal paste they used was like lower quality. Anyways, that's all I got, guys, and just wanted to give you this late-breaking information since it's the most up-to-date and it's straight from Polymega. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you on the next one.